So we already covered using your own network.
Yeah.
We covered leveraging the network of your own company, leveraging senior advisors. What else do you leverage to get in touch with potential clients?
Okay, so the senior advisors we had, etc. So I think the other one is you have to make a name for yourself out there. You have to be known. So for something, either the company or yourself. As I said, it's a people business. Often it's also more about the individuals than the company itself. So of course, what you can do there is publish white papers, speak at conferences, just get known, attend conferences and walk the corridors and talk to people. Have some collateral you can share for people to take home. And then, of course, and I think we discussed about this previously already, there's always the famous cold calling, which I really don't like. But in some instances, you have to complement all these efforts to some extent with as a colleague of mine that I appreciate highly and works with me very closely, always says the spray and pray approach. But as I said, hopefully you don't have to get to that point, but to some extent, you always have to keep an open mind to even use that in the end. The famous buying lists, buying customer lists, etc. I don't personally think you have to be very careful about that. It can be more destructive than constructive in building an image in the organization.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's first, like you mentioned, two things. The one is conferences, doing two things at conferences mainly, which is on the one hand being a speaker, getting a speaker slot, and also being present and getting to know people there. So can you give me a hands-on example where you did the latter, attend a conference? What did you do in order to get in touch with someone you didn't know before that at a later stage evolved into a business relationship? If you can remember such an instance.
Yeah. But what did I do in particular? I think in general, the way, very pragmatically speaking, when you speak at a conference and you hope that you get some people in the audience impressed, let's call it that way, by what you were saying. They say, aha, this person has something to do, it might be interesting. So some of them approach you afterwards. You have a small chat. You may go and sit aside on the couch in a meeting room and talk a bit more what their issues are. And then you exchange contacts and things grow from that. The other thing that happens is, very often it happens that people don't reach out to you immediately at the conference, but they reach out to you after the conference because when you're a speaker, your contacts are available. So basically, they then contact you via email, via phone, etc. White papers is another issue. We published a white paper a while ago. 2 years later, a client calls, very good client of mine that also is now again my client and still and again, called and said, well, I read this. You guys, I want to do something in this area. You guys seem to know what you're talking about. It was about asset tokenization and how asset tokenization will revolutionize the financial services world, but not only the financial services world, but a lot of the infrastructure funds, etc. How all of this could be revolutionized by that. Said, I want to build a proposition around that. You guys are the right people. He called from Dubai. Okay, me sitting in Luxembourg.